We're here at CES 2026 and today we're at LG Electronics booth checking out all of their latest monitors. They've got the long anticipated 39-inch ultra-wide 5K 2K OLED monitor that we're dying to check out. They've got a new 5K resolution mini LED monitor. So we'll tell you all about those today and go and look at all of their new monitors. Before I tell you all about the most exciting screen that I've seen here today, coming back to that in a moment, I want to just tell you a little bit about LG's new approach to their UltraGear lineup. So they've now expanded their Evo branding from their ultrafine lineup into their UltraGear lineup as well. Now we've seen a few Evo ultrafine models in the past, like the 32-inch 6K model that we reviewed last year, but now they've expanded the Evo branding into the UltraGear lineup to signify any monitor that offers a high resolution of 5K or above. So in this case, you've got a 5K 2K ultrawide. You've also got a 5K standard 16:9 that we'll come on to in a moment. But this is used to signify those screens that have got a super high resolution, super high pixel density as well in most cases, to distinguish them from the low resolution like the 4K and the 1440p models that have come before. Yeah. This signifies a switch in the market, it seems, to more 5K resolution monitors with the ability to offer dual mode functions that then drop you down to 1440p. We'll talk about that a bit more in a moment as well. But the push to that high resolution and a high level of detail is an interesting one for gamers who are looking to maximize image quality, detail and resolution for graphically intense games. This is the model that I'm most excited to see today. It's the long-awaited 39-inch ultra-wide OLED monitor. It's using a new 4th gen primary RGB tandem panel, but it's got a 39-inch form factor, 5K 2K resolution, so that's 5120 by 2160. But this time, they've reduced the curvature compared with their 45-inch model from last year. So rather than the 800R curvature that was pretty steep on the old model, this is now 1500R, which is far more subtle and far more comfortable on a screen this size. So you've got a smaller form factor, but still retaining that 5K 2K resolution. So that gives you a really good pixel density of 142 ppi as well. So you've got an amazingly sharp image, a slightly smaller and more comfortable screen, but most importantly, we think that more subtle curvature. Now, LG Electronics tell us that they've listened to the feedback from gamers and users and reviewers like ourselves. And so it's great to see that they've now adopted this better, more subtle curvature on this model. It's got a 5K 2K resolution and a native 165 Hz refresh rate, but it also allows you to double that to 330 Hz by dropping to a lower 2560 by 1080 resolution. So again, you've got the option here to game at either the full 5K 2K resolution or a low resolution to drive more frame rates if you've got a lower spec system or you're playing a more demanding game or you just want to push higher frame rates. So the other great thing is this includes their new AI upscaling technology that allows you to input a low resolution for your game. So in this instance, it's set to run at 2560 by 1080, but it will upscale the image to a 5K 2K equivalent on the monitor itself without you needing to do that from your system. So you can see here you've got a demo set up where the left-hand side is running at an HD resolution, 2560 by 1080. Right-hand side is upscaled to the 5K 2K resolution. You can see it's much, much sharper. There's a lot more detail. There's a lot more information shown on the screen, but that's all without the demands on your system of actually powering 5K 2K. So you've got the ability to run at a low resolution and, in fact, a higher refresh rate, while still enjoying the detail and image sharpness that you get from the 5K resolution. That's available via the on-screen menu. It's set up in a limited demo here, so we'll need to test that more to understand more about how it works and when it's available, but it looks really good, and I think that's done a really nice job of improving the image detail and the image clarity. And to do that without putting any kind of drain on your system is really impressive. Because it features a new Tandem WOLED panel, it's got the same high brightness capabilities as some of the other smaller tandem panels that we've seen before, True Black 500 certification. So from an HDR and SDR point of view, the new panel offers really good brightness. I really like the new curvature. I think it looks great. I think it's just about right for a screen of this size, 1500R instead of the previous 800R, which I think a lot of people just found too extreme. I found it okay on the 45-inch ultra-wide after a bit of usage, but as the screen size shrinks to, well, it's still pretty big, 39 inches, but as it gets to a smaller screen size, I think the 1500R is a really nice balance here. So bravo to LG for listening to their customers and offering something with a more subtle curvature here as well. This one's got DisplayPort 2.1 connectivity, with UHBR 20 speeds, USB Type-C with 90 watts power delivery, HDMI 2.1, so all the usual connectivity features that you'd expect to see. Really excited to see this screen later in the year. We're told it should be released probably around late April, early May, that kind of time. Pricing is still to be confirmed, so do keep an eye on our website. We'll update you there when we know more about pricing and launch, and hopefully we'll be able to feature a full review ahead of its launch a bit later in Q1. This is another really exciting new screen that I'm seeing today. It's a 27-inch sized mini LED monitor with a 5K resolution and dual mode support. So it's got a 5120 by 2880 5K resolution. That runs at 165 Hz refresh rate natively. So that offers you the option of prioritizing image detail, resolution, pixel density. It's got a 218 ppi pixel density, which would be considered a Retina resolution by Apple. So it's an ideal combination on a screen this size. And then from the 5K 165 Hz mode, there's also a dual mode function that allows you to double that refresh rate up to 330 Hz if you drop down to a lower 1440p resolution. So that's still a really good option on a 27-inch size screen like this. It's not going to look too blocky, too large a resolution. So 27-inch, 5K native, or 1440p using the dual mode. And then best of all, this is a mini LED screen. It's got 2,304 local dimming zones. And LG say that they've reduced the gap between the backlight and the panel, which then apparently reduces the haloing and the blooming that you might see during HDR content. So there's a high zone count along with that improvement to the local dimming, which should hopefully offer a really good HDR experience. Obviously, we can only do very limited testing here at CES, but if we get a chance to test this one and review it later on, we'll put it through its paces and see how that performs. The other interesting feature that's available on this 27-inch model and the 39-inch OLED that we just saw is that it features their AI scene optimization. So this is a feature that automatically switches the mode, the preset mode on the screen, depending on the content that it detects. So when it's displaying an Office application like this, it will switch to Office mode. And then when it switches to a game, it will switch to game mode, and so on. So that's potentially a useful feature if you're switching between lots of different uses. Maybe one moment you're doing Office and editing and that kind of work, professional applications, and then the next you want to watch a video, an animation video, or play a game. So it will auto switch between all those different modes, which obviously you can then also configure to your liking as well. So that's quite a nice feature that's available on this 27-inch mini LED model and the 39-inch ultra-wide OLED that we just saw. Thanks to the mini LED backlight, it's got VESA display HDR 1000 certification, so peak brightness of over 1000 nits. It's got DP 2.1 connectivity, UHBR 20 speeds, USB Type-C with 90 watts power delivery, wide color gamma, all of the usual kind of specs that you'd expect to see. But this looks a really interesting screen if you're looking for an LCD option. This is an IPS LCD as well, so a good alternative if you want a very high pixel density in a smaller screen size, Retina resolution, but with still the option to drop down to a lower resolution for certain gaming situations using that dual mode function. So that looks really good, and we're keen to see what the increase to the zone count offers. LG talk about it offering 1.5 times local dimming zone count compared with previous screens, and then that zero optical distance between the backlight and the panel that should hopefully reduce haloing and blooming. If the 39-inch ultra-wide OLED is not big enough for you, then maybe you want something like this. This is the world's largest 52-inch 5K 2K monitor. It's the same height pretty much as a 42-inch 16:9 like TV or monitor that you might have seen in the past, but obviously with a much wider field of view now as well. So it's got a 1000R curvature, so it gives you a nice immersive feel, which I think feels about right on a screen size this large. It's a VA LCD panel, so this is not an OLED model, but it offers a 5120 by 2160 5K 2K resolution, 240 Hz native refresh rate. It's a really nice alternative if you want a massive screen size. Maybe if you've been using a 42-inch monitor, 42-inch TV on your desk for a while, but you want an ultra-wide experience, you want something that's even more immersive with a curve, then this could suit you really well. It could also be really good for multitasking with Office applications. You could have multiple different windows set up. Maybe you could have even use picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture modes to offer a video in one place and then still give you loads of room. And you don't have to sacrifice the resolution as well because it's still 5K 2K. It's a really high resolution. Obviously not the same kind of pixel density that you get on a smaller screen, but really well suited to something this large as well. Being an LCD screen, it's got VESA Display HDR 600 certification, so there'll be some modest edge-lit local dimming available there. It does have a wide color gamut, 95% DCI-P3. It's got DP 2.1 connectivity, USB Type-C with 90 watts power delivery. It's also got integrated speakers as well. It's kind of like a replacement for a TV that you may have been using in the past. Really good to see like a really large screen size. I don't know if I could even fit this on my desk at home, but I think it would be one of those ones that once you've got used to it, it's really going to be hard to go back to something smaller. So that's another really good option as part of their new UltraGear Evo lineup, 5K, 2K resolution. The only note about this one is that it doesn't include that AI upscaling technology that we talked about earlier. That was available on the 39-inch ultrawide OLED and the 27-inch mini LED. It's not available here, but it does feature all the usual UltraGear settings and gaming options and everything as well. And this one, we're told, should be released again around April, May time. Pricing is still to be confirmed. We'll find out more hopefully later in Q1 on that one. So all of the new monitors here, the 39-inch ultrawide OLED, 27-inch mini LED, and this large 52-inch LCD, they're all expected to be released around April, May, pricing to be confirmed. Conspicuous by its absence, that some of you may have noticed, is their 32-inch Tandem WOLED monitor that was announced recently, but it's not on display here at CES this week, unfortunately. That's a new 32-inch 4K model, 3840 by 2160 resolution, 240 Hz refresh rate, dual mode for 480 Hz. So the same spec as some of the previous 32-inch 4K OLEDs that we've seen, but this time it would be the first to feature a tandem WOLED panel. So that will offer improvements to brightness, SDR, performance, black depth, all of the benefits that we've seen from tandem WOLED before, but in that 32-inch form factor. Now, LG are the only ones who've actually announced one that we've seen so far at CES featuring that new panel. It's a shame it's not on display here at the event, but we'll bring you more information on it as soon as we've got it and hopefully review later in Q1. This is their new ultra high refresh rate 27-inch tandem WOLED panel. So this is a 540 Hz native 27-inch 1440p screen. It's got a dual mode function as well that allows you to drop to a lower HD resolution or 720p, but boost your refresh rate all the way up to 720 Hz. So you've got an option here for very fast gaming, even at 1440p. But if you want to play certain games at a low resolution, perhaps some older titles or at unusual aspect ratios or unusual settings, then you've also got the option to drop down to 720p and get a massive increase in the refresh rate as well. We've seen some of these panels in the past and the motion clarity is excellent in both situations. The screen uses a 4th gen primary RGB tandem panel, or just a tandem WOLED panel, as LG Display now like to call them. So it offers improvements in brightness. It's got True Black 500 certification, increased SDR brightness of 300 nits, and a peak brightness of 1500 nits as well. So there's some really good brightness increases for both SDR and HDR content with the new panel. So that's a really exciting screen if you're looking for something for really top tier gaming, a 27-inch form factor. It's got a nice design, it's got a metal foot as well, so it's a little bit different to some of the other 540 Hz tandem WOLED panels that we've seen in the past. So there you go, that's all of the latest exciting monitors from LG Electronics this year. Their new UltraGear Evo lineup looks really interesting. Great to see an investment in 5K resolution. Particularly interested to see that 39-inch ultra-wide OLED monitor. I know a lot of you will be interested in that one. Can't wait to test that later in the year. The mini LED looks great. The 52-inch looks massive, but also looks really good. So loads of new monitors to get excited about. Hopefully we'll see those released a little bit later this quarter, if not in Q2. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay up to date on all of our other CES coverage this year. You'll find links in the description below where you can check that out, along with our CES tracker with all the news, coverage, reviews, all that kind of stuff. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.